It has been said, who is strong? He who conquers himself. This is MJ. Welcome to King of Hearts, Queen of Sorrows, my platform for discussing one of my favorite anime of all time, Mobile Fighter G Gundam. This time I'm going to be talking about G Gundam episode 44. And the reason I highlighted that quote is because in some ways, Kyoji, who turns out to have been Schwarzbrüder, or really Schwarzbrüder, who turns out to have been an android replica of Kyoji Kashu, he's willing to sacrifice his life. He's willing to die. He was willing to set aside his goals, his desires, his pain and suffering in order to come alongside Domon Kashu and his brother, or a man who may as well be his brother, because an android replica may feel like they have a personal relationship with someone, but do they really? I don't know. That's a question to wonder at or discuss in another context at another time. But he has all the feelings as if he's Kyoji, and he sets that all aside and maintains a distance, a cool, detached demeanor towards Domon Kashu and even Rain. And he works towards building up Domon, teaching him, instructing him, giving him wisdom, so that when the time comes, Domon can do the right thing. Now, Kyoji, or Schwarz, is a very capable fighter, and for so long in the series, he is a more capable fighter than Domon. But he doesn't take it upon himself to fight and destroy the Dark Gundam. He needs Domon Kashu. Now, that may be a conceit of the show. It may be a construct. It may be, oh gosh, there's a word I'm looking for that I can't, not derivative, contrived. It may be contrived. It may be a contrivance that only Domon, the protagonist of G Gundam, can defeat the Dark Gundam. But in another way, I think it speaks to a certain humility that Kyoji might have, that Schwarzbrüder might have, that you cannot rely on one person alone to fight, to destroy, to neutralize a threat as great and terrible as the Dark Gundam. And I don't know, I find that very compelling. The drama and the stakes in this episode were pretty amazing. We got to learn all this backstory. The Dark Gundam was the ultimate Gundam originally. We know that already. But what we didn't know is that Master Asia wanted to use it to restore the Earth. We also didn't know that Dr. Kashu and Kyoji developed it so that it could regenerate the Earth after all the damage that the faux war of the Gundam fight has done to it over the decades. And we didn't know that Wong was going to go nuts. Wong going crazy after his Allenby of the Darkness is defeated feels a little bit out of character, but I'm not really sure Wong's character is greatly established other than being power hungry and I don't know, greedy, selfish, cold. But I guess to some extent it doesn't make sense that once Allenby was defeated, he would just go to wanting to destroy everything. But that pushed the story, that served things to have Schwarz talk to Domon and command him, order him, insist that he destroy the Dark Gundam along with Kyoji's, what remained of Kyoji's life, and even Schwarz's, that he went along and sacrificed himself. Now, the way that the story was set up, there was no way for Domon to destroy the Dark Gundam and Kyoji without also ending Schwarz's life. But I felt it was very poetic the way they chose to handle it, where Schwarz kind of represents the soul outside of Kyoji's body, and the two of them are joined together, and the two of them, bid Domon to destroy the Dark Gundam, even if it means their destruction, because they know that now that the Ultimate Gundam has been corrupted from crashing and being damaged, that it is a malefic force, that it will be destructive, that it will harm people, and they don't want that to happen. So, and because of that, they're willing to give up their lives, and that's pretty impressive. Another thing I wanted to touch on briefly before I get out of here is I really like that in the fight between Allenby and Rain, that Rain expresses the fact that she's not a fighter, but that she has a strong will, strong passion and desire to cure people who have been hurt by the DG cells. And thinking about the fact that her father helped to develop some of that technology, I believe, but more so caused the DG cells to become rampant and basically turn evil when they were meant to help regenerate life and restore it and to be a positive force. It makes sense that she would be that much more incentivized, called, determined to ensure that they don't hurt anybody, and that her family's legacy isn't death and destruction and bitterness and sadness, which it would be if she gave up now and didn't fight against herself, fight against the fact that she was a party to, she benefited from all this wrong that was done. And I just find that pretty profound, and I think it echoes and it goes back to that concept of having the strength to overcome yourself. And Domon at the end ultimately has the strength to overcome himself. He wants to save Kyoji, he wants to save Schwarz, he loves these men, these two brothers of his, and he has to set aside his feelings and do the right thing. He cannot compromise. There is no way for him to save them and save and protect the world from the Dark Gundam. It's one or the other. And in a different show, in a different context, I would want there to be a third way, but in real life sometimes there isn't. You have to make choices, and Domon is able to do that, and it hurts him, but he's able to do it, and that shows how strong he is. And I think that's a good message. I think it's something good and positive that they're sharing. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. This was a more toned down, more subdued review, just because, it's sad what happens. And it's, kind of serious. And I don't know, I felt like giving it the gravitas that it deserved. So anyway, that's all I really have to say. I don't think I have any questions for you this time. I don't know, other than, do you think there should have been a way for it to all work out for the good? And how'd you like that Allenby Rain fight? And do you think we should have seen more of Rain fighting? And one more thing, with Allenby being such a competent warrior, do you think it was, uncalled for, or it didn't make sense that Rain was able to defeat her? I would submit that Rain has gotten stronger in the Gundam over the course of the series, and that she's become a little tougher and more mentally determined, and the mental and physical aspects of being strengthened throughout, I think, justify her getting in there and kicking butt, and it makes sense to me. And just emotionally, the way they superimposed her as like a priestess, a traditional Japanese priestess, and she was like expelling this evil spirit or whatever, and she's a doctor and she heals people and things like that. It all works for me on an emotional level, and I think there's some justification for it too. So that's my 2 cents on the matter, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Remember, folks, go out there and grasp happiness. MJMunoz.com is home for all my work. Podcasts and reviews of anime, tokusatsu, Star Wars, and more, plus my original writings. If you didn't enjoy this, critique me. If you did, leave me a comment. If you really like this, consider tipping me at coffee.com/MJMunoz. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Until next time, be well.